Hello and welcome to our latest video on Chardonnay. First off, thank you very much for not turning off as soon as I said the word Chardonnay. People's usual first thought of the grape variety is those big, full-bodied, heavily oaked styles from Australia made in the early 90s. This led to the rise of ABC, anything but Chardonnay. But Chardonnay is such an important grape variety and made in so many different styles, and it's also the key grape variety behind top wines like Champagne, Chablis and Burgundy. Chardonnay is a unique grape variety as it ripens in any given climate, from cool to warm. And depending on how ripe those grapes are, give you a variety of different flavour characteristics, from citrus, green, stone and tropical fruit. For me, the most typical characteristic of Chardonnay is green apple and blossom. Then depending on where those grapes are grown, you could have from a cool climate more like biting into a Granny Smith apple, to a warm climate where it's more like cooked apples. Chardonnay is originally a cool climate grape variety, where we'll find very high levels of natural acidity. But it has adapted to that warmer climate, but as temperature increases, we start to notice that acidity start to fade away. So producers in warmer climates have decided to either plant at higher altitude or harvest earlier in the season to retain that freshness in the wine. Once the grapes have arrived into the winery, there's so many more methods of production that can add more complexity to your Chardonnay. Producers may decide to stir the dead yeast after the fermentation. This is known as batonnage, and this adds a gentle biscuit and toast characteristic to the wine. They may decide to do malolactic fermentation, where they convert the acid within the wine using a naturally forming bacteria. This helps soften the acidity as well as adding in dairy characteristics of cream and butter. Then on top of all of that, they may decide to ferment and age in oak barrels. This is a timely and costly method of production, but when done well with a very gentle integration of oxygen, it helps stabilize the wine for longevity, as well as adding in characteristics of cedar, vanilla, and nuts. As Chardonnay has grown all over the world, there are many fine examples to look at. In its spiritual home of Burgundy, you'll find top villages like Meursault and Montrachet. These are some of the finest and most expensive styles of Chardonnay in the world. They will be big, full-bodied, and very rich, with really intense stone fruit characteristics and lots of those winemaking techniques I just mentioned to increase complexity. If you're not a fan of the oaky styles of Chardonnay, then head further north into Chablis. These wines will be unoaked and focus more on the purity of fruit, with that crisp green apple, hints of pear, and that mouth-watering acidity. We can't talk about French Chardonnay without mentioning Champagne, one of the 3 permitted grape varieties in the production of Champagne, along with Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. It gives the blend an extra citrus and freshness, as well as a creamy texture. Look out for the Blanc de Blanc champagnes, which will be made from 100% Chardonnay. Around the world, we've got many places to explore for high-end premium Chardonnay. For the big, full-bodied oaky styles, then look at the Napa Valley in California, as well as certain parts of Australia, like the Yarra Valley, Adelaide Hills, and Mornington Peninsula. If you prefer them to be little to no oak aging, for the lighter styles, then look at Casablanca Valley in Chile and Marlborough in New Zealand. There really is a world of Chardonnay out there to explore. And if you usually say you don't like Chardonnay, I wager I can find a glass that you will enjoy. Cheers.